Guys, welcome back to Clam Chowder review number 4. Let's get a quick little, you can tell off the bat, a little watery, but hey, sometimes if it's not as thick, the flavor will kick in as well. I'm not sure that made any sense. Either way, so we're at the end of an era, if you will. So the very first store has come to a close. I found out that the food line I went to had a lot less flavors than I thought. And so I thought what better way to end this store, at least, with their version of clam chowder. Right off the bat, I noticed that there's a nice maroon looking soup bowl. It goes well with the coloration of the clam chowder, and also that one thing that hold on, thumbnail time. That one thing that almost all of these don't have, which is clams. I love that. It's got a nice set of clam shells there with clams opened up. Looks good. Hearty clam chowder from Food Line. Once again, when I first started this, I thought there would be a lot more flavors, but hey, you know, there's a lot more stores. So let's dive in. As I said, it looks a little watery. That can affect the flavor. There have been rare times where it actually makes it better. Let's find out. Oh yeah. Definitely not as thick. That's okay though. Doesn't have to be like, you know, very thick. Let's get a nice little spoonful here. Let's try to avoid some of these potatoes, man. That's screwed. So, this will give you a good idea of what I'm dealing with right now. So that's the potatoes, the clams. See that little clam on top? There are actually quite a few of these. So the volume could be misleading here. And sometimes with the little bits of clam like that are really tiny, they tend, especially in not quite as thick clam chowder, they'll go to the bottom. So I'm really trying to dig them out here. And as I say that, just had a clam about that big in it. So, you know, obviously not on point with where we want clam chowder to be in this world, but it's hanging with the, you know, with the others so far. I'm sure you can see that from here. It is just straight chunk. That'll probably be a in every video type of thing where I look at it. There was potato chowder right next to this. It is so amazing how identical the two soups almost are. It literally is the exact same soup, but with clams. Without clams, excuse me. These have clams. Allegedly, the potato soup ones do not. But it's literally the exact same soup, ingredients, just with no clams. Now, once again, you know what I mean here. Taste-wise. So that whole rarity with the whole, sometimes, now, once again, I said this is very rare, and I said that for a reason. Sometimes when it's more watery, not watery, it's not the right word, just less thick, the flavor will come out a little bit. It's really weird how to describe it. I really cannot, honestly. This is not one of the situations. The flavor's not bad. Now, I will say this, overall, there are less potatoes than, you know, the others, but the clams don't make up for it. Like, I am straight up grabbing, like, just soup. And a lot of these spoonfuls, which I have to say, technically, that is kind of an improvement, because I would absolutely rather have just straight the soup that the clam chowder is in with no potatoes than, you know, the chunky, for example, which is just, excuse me, straight potatoes, like 1 or 2 clams the entire time. I would actually rather have just the straight soup at this point. just in case. I believe we have ourselves a full 1,000 batting average clam scoop right here. Made that 500. That one on the corner was a piece of celery. A rare piece. I keep forgetting those are part of the ingredients. Let's see here. Yeah, celery is the second one. And let me know where I should go next. Food Line seriously only had like 4 flavors, or brands, excuse me. I was thinking, I guess, you know, Walmart, that's the most generic one. I would imagine they have the most, you know, varieties of brands, although, you know, I did already have 2. Yeah, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, besides this Food Line one, I really only have had Progressive and Campbell so far. Definitely gotta expand that. This is what I'm talking about. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. I cannot stand the amount of potatoes in clam chowder so much. I would actually rather have this than the ones like the chunky, for example. The chunky, once again, that is code for more clams. This one, I would actually prefer this. Yeah, there's no clams to back it up, but, well, there's clams in here, but I would say about that big. It's like they kind of took all the clams that are normally in a clam chowder bowl and just ground them up a little bit more. It's not more of them volume-wise, but they're like more like within the soup. Like more of a part of the soup, if you will. It's not a bad idea, but once again, that sheer volume needs to back it up, and it does not. But to give an idea, I think I've already made this clear, but just to be absolutely sure you see this, that is just straight watery compared to the others. That is not thick at all. Like I said, sometimes in really weird situations, the clams, there's enough of them, will bring out the flavor more. But because it's easier for the, here's a good way to put it. It's easier for the taste to spread through the soup, whereas if it's thick, it stays in one little spot. But overall, you know, I don't think anyone was expecting anything special here. Once again, it's just Food Line brand. I mean, you know, you gotta do it though. We will leave no stone unturned. Not a single stone. Definitely the least thick. The ratio is about like the first one, the Campbell's New Look. So this is an interesting one. So this is the first real like not thick one. So thickness wise, way down. Potato to clam ratio, I mean, the same overall. However, less potatoes. Now that means less clams as well. This is a tricky one because honestly, if this was as thick as the others, I would say this is my favorite one strictly because of the lack of potatoes compared to the others. There were far less potatoes in this one compared to the others. But since it was less thick, as you guys could clearly see, man, it's gonna be quite a journey. I really can't wait till I get to the restaurants and I am just trashing them in front of their own, you know, management and stuff. But this is a tough one. Less potatoes is always a plus. The less clams doesn't help. And it was definitely not as thick, and I prefer it to be thick. I would imagine most of you prefer that to be thick. I think we all can agree thickness and not as many potatoes and more clams to, you know, take the place of the potatoes is the look. In my opinion, A 6 is a passing score, and these are just, none of these have really been, you know, worthy of that. But it's not as bad as the chunky. Once again, the chunky was just so embarrassing because it literally says chunky. One would think that means more clams. Obviously not the case. And there was basically no clams in that one. This had more clams than the chunky. So, Food Lion Hearty Clam Chowder. Good looking can. As for the soup, the wateriness brought it down a little bit lower than the others. We'll say 5.3 out of 10.